Hey there, everybody, and welcome. Today, I am going to present a two-player playthrough of Tekhenu, Obelisk of the Sun. If you are not familiar with the game, you may want to view the full tutorial video that I recorded and published yesterday on YouTube and in Board Game Geek. I will not be going through the rules in detail in my playthrough today, but I will sort of summarize as I go. But if you really want to have a good understanding of how the game works, then I would encourage you to watch my previous video. I do go into detail. I cover all the rules. I provide lots of examples. It's one of my slow and steady tutorials where I really dive deep into the rule set, especially aimed at people who might not be used to heavy games or really want to get a good understanding of how the game works without having to read the rule book. You got the idea. First of all, as you can see, if you didn't watch my previous video, I'm going to be using a program that I wrote. If you're not familiar with my channel, this is what I do. I take games that I love and I program them and then use those programs for any videos that I create so that you could see how the game works, watch it close up. You don't have to worry about me making a mistake. My program takes care of all the bookkeeping and makes sure that I don't cheat or miss something. And with this game, there's so much going on that it's very easy to miss something unless you're really methodical, especially when you're playing by yourself. This is going to be a real-time playthrough. I am not out to really study the board and dwell and think about the best possible play. So don't watch this video expecting necessarily to see good play. Given all that, let's get started and see how we go. So we're going to be playing, you know what, I'll make the players blue and pink. That way it'll be easier to follow. And here we go. For those of you who are not familiar with the game, who have not read the rule book, who refuse to watch my previous video and tutorial, basically Tekhenu is a medium to heavyweight dice drafting game. It's played over 16 rounds, and in each round, each player chooses one die from around this wheel over here and then performs an action with that die. And there are maybe 7 different actions to choose from with some complications sprinkled on top. The board's been randomly set up, but at the tail end of setup, each player is provided 2 different decrees. Decrees are endgame scoring cards, secret goals, if you will, and each player has to choose one to keep and choose one to discard. Then my program is going to randomly choose a start player, and that start player will then complete the setup by choosing the first starting card. Starting cards are used to give yourself some starting resources to play with. They're used to determine the true turn order for round 1, as you'll soon see. Before I get to all of that, what I usually like to do is scan the cards at the bottom of the board. These cards are a mix of blessings and technologies, and later on we'll see decrees. So blessings are one-time benefit type cards that give you a special bonus or some immediate benefit. When you're ready to use them, you play them, and then you give up the card. Technologies, on the other hand, the beige cards, are ongoing benefits, ongoing abilities. So when you take a technology, you keep it for the remainder of the game. Blessings and technologies are all kept face up in your player area, while decrees are kept face down. Now, as you can see, half of the card market has been filled. The other half will get filled as the game proceeds, and I'll make mention of that as we go. But we won't see additional decrees pop up until these next sections start filling in with cards. Players at the end of the game can score up to 3 end-game scoring cards or decree cards, but they all have to have different symbols on them. And when I return to setup, I'll talk about what those symbols are. Before the game even begins, you're going to look at what cards are available. Think about possibly maneuvering yourself into first place in turn order if you see something that you really think is going to be beneficial. So over here we've got gain 3 population or 3 happiness. Actually, 2 of them have shown up side by side. There's two of those cards in the blessings deck. Each player starts with 5 population, that's the large meeple, and 2 happiness, the small meeple. So these cards let you either increase your population by 3 or your happiness by 3. Your happiness can never exceed your population. But part of the goal of the game is to get your happiness as high as possible over the course of the game. So these are 2 great cards to get right away. And this one, 2 points when you produce bread, and when scoring, pay no bread. That's actually pretty valuable too, if you're planning to build a lot of buildings. Bread has to be paid during the 2 scoring phases of the game for building upkeep, and you're going to be paying anywhere from 0 to 6 bread, depending upon how many buildings you've constructed up to that point. There are 2 scorings during the game, one at the end of round 8 and one at the end of round 16. Then in this section of the card market, play when taking a die, rotate the die to any value of your choice. So you can use these special scribes that players can collect over the course of the game to mitigate the dice that you choose, to possibly increase or in some rare cases decrease the value of the die. Generally speaking, higher valued die are better than lower valued dice. So oftentimes you might want to spend a scribe here or there in order to bump up the pip value of a die by 1 or 2 pips per scribe that you spend. And each player starts the game with 1 gold, which is wild, and 1 scribe. The other main resources of the game are papyrus, bread, limestone, and granite, and all of those are needed in order to perform these various actions, these god actions around the board. So this is sort of like using up to 3 scribes for free to change the value of a die, possibly from 1 to 6 or 6 to 1. This blessing allows you to do 2 actions during your turn. Normally you can only perform 1 action. This says when taking a die as an extra action, you can decrease both your happiness and population by 1 in order to take the god action associated with the section that's opposite the section from where you took the die. So for example, if I took a die from the Bastet god area, if I had that card, I could not only perform a Bastet god action, but I could also perform a Horus god action. This card says whenever you take a die, so you can see that my program, this is a prototype version of the program. The game actually hasn't been officially released yet. It's supposed to be arriving within the next week, hopefully, or 2. And at that point, I'll scan all the images and I'll have a very clear looking board and clear looking cards and clear looking tiles, so everything won't be so fuzzy. But in the meantime, however, I do have tooltips. So this tooltip says whenever you take a die, you may treat forbidden dice as if they were pure or tainted. So dice are either pure, tainted, or forbidden depending upon their color and where they lie in the shadow of the obelisk. As you can see right now, the obelisk has randomly pointing to the east, So these two sections here are in the sun. These two sections here are dark, and these two sections in the middle are partially shaded. This table indicates whether it's sunny or shaded or dark, how the various colors of the die get positioned as to whether they're pure or tainted or forbidden. All pure dice are on the outer ring, all tainted dice are on the middle ring, and all dice that are forbidden, meaning dice that you generally can't choose, are on the inner ring. But as the obelisk rotates over the course of the game, the dice get repositioned because the shadow is changing, and dice that used to be forbidden might become tainted. Dice that used to be pure might become forbidden. So you've got to not only know what's pure and tainted right now, but you've got to think ahead a round or two so you know what dice might be available down the road. So this lets you take forbidden dice and make them pure or tainted, which is really powerful. And then this card says perform an Anubis action. An Anubis action is a special action you can take, normally paying 2 scribes, that allows you to take any die, even if it's forbidden, from anywhere around the board, and then treat it as if it was any color and potentially came from anywhere around the board. So it's sort of like a wild action. Normally you have to pay 2 scribes in order to perform that wild Anubis action. This card basically lets you do it without having to pay 2 scribes, but you still have to pay for the action you're taking. Okay, so what really stands out to me is this technology. One of these players is going to want to get their hands on this. However, these cards are not available until your happiness gets into the red section of the population track. And our happiness is currently in the yellow section, so the only cards that are available right now are these. And getting both of these in one turn is a huge plus in terms of getting your population and your happiness moving up the track. Okay, so now that I've reviewed all the cards, we'll return to the blue player, look at the 2 decrees that the blue player received, and choose one to discard and one to keep. So this one says score 2 victory points per pillar you've raised. Pillars are erected here in this temple complex in the top right corner of the board. And what else did it say? And 2 points per building you have built around the temple. So buildings are built on the outskirts of the temple here. You can see that some are blocked off because we're only playing a 2-player game. And the pillars and tiles from over here are built within the temple complex. So if you really focus on that, obviously you can do pretty well here. And this card says, and notice, by the way, that this has a bird symbol at the top of it. So remember I said at the end of the game, you could score multiple decrees, as many as 3, no more, but whatever decrees you do try to score at the end of the game, they have to have different symbols on them. So you have to be conscious of that. This card, so this card has a guy with a hat, fancy hat, and it says pay 2 gold to score one of your decrees a second time. If I can find a decree that is really powerful, some decrees could score you as many as 20 or more points at the end of the game. So a good decree can really turn the tables at the end of the game. If I keep this, I definitely have to find another decree that doesn't have the symbol of a person with a hat at the top, and that's going to score me a boatload of points. So I think I'm going to get rid of this card and keep this one and plan before the end of the game to get 1 or 2 good decrees so that I can use this, pay 2 gold, and score one of those decrees twice. So I'm getting rid of this one, and right now blue has a leg up just by having that decree. But as I said, it all depends. Is blue going to get a decree that they can score twice that's going to score them a lot of points? Remains to be seen. Pink, on the other hand, got a decree that says score 4 victory points per pyramid, your happiness marker has reached. So if you look at the track, there is a one at the 9 mark. If your happiness gets up to 9 or higher, there's one pyramid here, but if your happiness gets up to 15 or higher, there's 2 pyramids, and there's 3 at 16, 4 at 19, and 5 at 21. Normally, during the scoring phases of the game, you score 3 points per pyramid that your happiness has reached. So if your happiness is all the way at the end, you've got 5 pyramids, that's 15 points during the scoring phase. This card says, in addition to that, score an additional 4 points per pyramid. This one says score 4 victory points per unique decree symbol you have, including this one. So there are 24 decrees in the deck. There are 8 different symbols. So theoretically speaking, you could score as many as 32 points if you can rack up a huge number of decrees with different symbols on them. Doing that is easier said than done. I'm thinking for now I'm going to stick with 4 points per player per pyramid that my happiness marker has reached. So I'm going to discard the one that says 4 per symbol. And now these are the starting cards that I referred to. And as you can see, pink has been chosen randomly to go first. So this is going to be a snake draft. Each player is going to draw 2 of these starting cards to determine what resources or special actions they start the game with. And pink is going to choose first, and then blue will choose 2 cards in a row, and then pink will choose her second card. Let's just assume that pink is a woman and blue is a guy, and I apologize for not using gender-neutral colors. And the other thing I should point out is you can notice that each one of these cards has a number at the top of it, an initiative value. That initiative, when you take your 2 cards, you add those numbers together, the higher initiative goes first in turn order at the start of the game. Higher initiative starting cards are of less value than lower initiative starting cards, generally speaking. So pink knows, so pink wants 4 happiness per player. So pink definitely wants these 2 cards and wants to get them right away. That's perfect for her. So she definitely wants to go first. If she takes the 12 initiative card, where she gains 2 gold, then the best that blue could do is take the 10 and the 6, and then pink could take the 5 and have a total initiative of 17 to 16 for blue, and go first and definitely grab these cards before blue can. And I think that's what pink is going to do. But let me take a look at the rest of these cards. So this says gain 3 resources in any combination, papyrus or bread only. Draw 2 blessing cards from the top of the deck. Keep 1, shuffle the other back into the deck. That's a nice card. So that basically gets you one of these for free. This one is draw 2 technology cards from the deck. Keep 1, shuffle the other back into the deck. So this gets you one of these beige technology cards for free. And this is perform an Osiris God action for free, constructing a building in the first or second column, papyrus or bread, as if you had taken a die with a value of 3. So that means that you have to build a building in one of these 2 spaces in the Osiris action area. This first one would be, if you built a building here, you would get 1 papyrus and then increase your papyrus and bread production levels by 1 notch. Everybody's production for their resources starts at 2. If you ever produce resources, you can only keep whatever number of resources you produce that's equal to or less than the value of the production for that resource. So another goal of the game are to get these markers up the track so that if you ever do produce resources, you can keep as many of them as possible. Yeah, I think pink definitely wants to go first. So pink is going to settle for this card that gives her 2 gold. Remember, she starts with 1, so she'll have 3 resources to play with. Blue can see that pink is taking this initiative 12 card. These are all kept face up. And now blue gets to choose 2 cards in a row. And blue knows that pink has got first place locked up for all intents and purposes. Well, I think blue will definitely take this good card here, this card that produces 3 resources, 3 papyrus and or bread. I think blue is going to grab this card. And then pink definitely is going to be first in turn order. So the question is, does pink want to draw 2 blessings or 2 technologies? Well, technologies are ongoing. So having a really good technology from the start of the, right from the start of the game is extremely powerful. So I think we're going to go for draw 2 technology cards. So pink is going to choose this card. And now each player chooses a destiny card. So the purpose of the destiny card, one, is to get another little bonus, a scribe, a gold, 1 population or 1 happiness, or 1 faith token. But the other purpose of these destiny cards is that they give you an Ankh value. The Ankh value breaks the tie during what's called the Maat phase. The Maat phase is performed at every 4 rounds at the end of rounds 4, 8, 12, and 16. And at that point, during the Maat phase, each player has 4 dice on their board because 4 rounds have elapsed. And part of your objective is that you want to have the same number of pure dice on the left as you have pips on the right for tainted dice. To the extent that you're balanced, that these scales are perfectly balanced, you have a better chance of going first in turn order. But if there's a tie on the scale balance between the players, then the Ankh value is used to break that tie. I'm thinking 1 population or happiness, because their goal is to their decree is 4 per happiness pyramid. I think pink is going to choose that. And blue, who also starts with 1 gold and 1 scribe, is going to take this lower Ankh value card that produces another scribe. Okay, so now each player resolves the cards that they have drawn, gets the benefits, and then the game will start. Pink gets 2 gold. Pink draws 2 technology cards and keeps 1. So they got a card that says, whenever you perform a Thoth God action, this is the one at the card market, so this is perfect for pink, gain 1 papyrus. You have to spend 0, 2, or 3 papyrus when you're taking a Thoth God action. This card gives you a papyrus right from the start of your action, so you can use that and toward the cost of taking that Thoth action. So this is right up pink's alley. This card gives you an additional 2 faith tokens. So faith tokens are used during the Maat phase to try to keep your scales balanced. If you have more pips on the left than you do on the right, then you can use faith tokens, 1 faith token per pip, to get your scales closer to 0. And this also gives you a permanent Ankh value of 5, so you will essentially always break ties on balance. So I think pink's going to get rid of this card. So it gets shuffled back into the technology deck. And then finally, pink can gain 1 population or happiness. And pink is going to take 1 happiness. Remember, I said your happiness can never be higher than your population, but you start the game with 5 population and 2 happiness, so there's plenty of room there to grow. So pink's going to take a happiness and is already a little bit ahead. Now blue has to evaluate their 3 cards, so their destiny card's easy. 1 scribe, That's easy. So now blue has 2 scribes. Then blue can build a building in the Osiris action area, row 3, papyrus or bread. So here or here. So the question is, would blue prefer to gain a papyrus or would blue prefer to gain a bread? Blue does have their eye on maybe grabbing this card if they can possibly muster it. Although they know that pink's going to grab these cards. So I think we're going to build a papyrus workshop. Okay, as you can see, we gained a papyrus, and both our papyrus and bread production levels have climbed from 2 to 3. And then finally, blue can collect 3 papyrus and or bread. They currently have 1 papyrus. I think they're going to take 1 more papyrus and then 2 bread. So that way they have 2 papyrus for purposes of these actions, and 2 bread. Bread is used primarily for when taking a Hathor god action, which allows you to build buildings around the outskirts of the temple complex, and Hathor is also used to increase your population. So this action increases your population, Bastet increases your happiness. So we're going to take 1 papyrus. Oh, did I just make a mistake? I did, didn't I? I already clicked papyrus. So I'm going to fix that. I meant to give myself 1 more papyrus and 2 more bread. And now, finally, we are at the start of round 1. Pink is going first. This is where the turn order is tracked here. So you can see the pink is going first in turn order because of those 2 high initiative starting cards that they drew earlier during the setup. Okay, so pink now has to choose a pure or tainted die. Again, pure dice are on the outer ring, tainted dice are on the center ring, the middle ring. And remember, pink wants to perform a Hoth action. So pink is going to either take this 4, this 5, or this 2. They're all pure. They're all going to end up on the left side of their scale. If you take a 4 or a 5, you have to pay 2 papyrus and then take 2 cards from one section of the card market. If you use a die of value 2, then you take only 1 card from the card market, but you get it for free. You don't have to pay any papyrus. Clearly, yellow wants both of these cards. So we're going to take a pure 4. That's going to cost 2 papyrus. So basically, I'm going to be paying 2 of my 3 gold to take these 2 cards. So when the action is spelled out right down here. If you take a 1 or a 2, you get 1 card for free. If you take a 3 or a 4, you get 2 cards for 2 papyrus. And then if you take a 5 or a 6, you have to take 3 cards and spend 3 papyrus. So this is going to cost pink 2 gold or 2 papyrus to get these 2 cards. So pink's gold has fallen to 2. Pink had 3 gold. Oh, pink, I'm sorry, yeah, pink has the technology. So here's a good example of my program looking out for me. Pink has the technology that says gain a papyrus when you take a Thoth action. I've already totally forgotten about it. So pink gained a papyrus and used that, so they only had to spend 1 of their gold for the action. All right, now we're going to use these cards. The first one to increase population by 3, and the other to increase happiness by 3. So now pink is already into the red section of the card market, so they have a shot at possibly getting this really good card on their next turn. Let's end pink's turn and turn it over to blue. Oh, so what new cards came out here? This one says when you take a die, you can treat it as if it were a different color. That would allow you to take a forbidden die and treat it as being pure or tainted. This is a one-time benefit. This card says that whenever you take play at the start of your turn. Instead of spending 2 scribes, play this card to perform an Anubis action. Oh, it's similar. So this one, oh, this one's different. This is whenever you perform an Anubis action, score 3 points. The same card image, because I didn't have the true card image for the card, the technology that says whenever you perform an Anubis action, score 3 points. So instead of making up a card that looks like that, I just took this one and colored beige. So as I said, until I get my copy of the game, these images are going to be off. So pay closer attention to the tooltips than the images. I don't think blue wants to start with a thought action. There's nothing here in that first section that he feels is vital. Increasing your happiness by 1 is kind of pretty bad. Osiris requires you have to spend 1 happiness to build buildings in the Osiris action area. So this with this card, you could build, with this die, you could build in row 3. Here you could build in row 2. Here you could build in row 6. You get better immediate benefits at the bottom here with a higher value dice, but lower value buildings up here at the top will break ties for majority. So I could take any one of those dice possibly. Horus action allows you to build statues. To build your first statue, you need 4 granite. I've got 1 gold and no granite, so that's not. I'm not even going to consider that. The raw god action is the one that lets you take a tile here. In order to take a tile, you have to pay for it, and you can see this one costs 3 limestone. This one costs 4 limestone. This one costs 4 limestone. I don't have any limestone, so that's off the table as well. Hathor requires bread. Bread I have. So I'm really looking at, do I want to take a Hathor or an Osiris? Well, I've already built 1 building here. Maybe I want to build 1 building out here. So I think I'm going to take the 3, the lower of the 2, the tainted 3. So this is going to end up on the right side of my scale. And I have potentially 3 bread, so I can build in the 3 bread column or row or the 2 bread column or row. These are symmetrical, so there's a 2 here and a 2 here and a 2 here and a 2 here. 3 is next to the 2, and then 4 is in the middle. 4 is your best option because, as you'll soon see, when you build a building, you not only score points for pillars that you previously erected. Of course, there are none here right now, but you also collect 1 for every resource shown in the 5 in any empty spaces in the same row or column as you're building. So building a building in the center will give you 1, for example, would give you 1 food, 1 bread, 1 papyrus, 1 gold, 1 limestone, and 1 granite, 1 of everything essentially. Same holds true here. If you tend to build in the 2 bread spots, then you don't collect for the corner icons, so all you get is something like a bread, a papyrus, and a faith token, which is not a resource. It's just used to help balance your scales later on during the Maat phase. So as you can see, cheaper buildings give you less. More expensive buildings give you more. And I think I'm going to do it. I am going to go here to the 3 bread spot. So this will cost me 2 bread and 1 gold. And I'm going to collect 1 of everything seen there. 1 granite, a bread, a limestone, a papyrus, and a faith token. So I'm starting to get my resources built up. So pink is in the red area. Pink really wants to grab this card. So the question is, do they take a 5 or a 2? They have 2 gold, so they could take a 5. No, a 5 would cost 3 papyrus. Oh, but pink gets a papyrus when they take a Thoth action. So pink could take this 5 and take 3 cards, which wouldn't be bad. They would get this card. Clearly, they would get this card, which provides you an extra action, and this card, which is like a wild, take a die and change its value to whatever face you want it to be. So I think pink is definitely going to grab this yellow, this pure yellow 5. And they are going to, you can only take cards from one section. You can't split among different sections. You could spend a papyrus if you want to recycle the cards in a section. I'm not recycling anything, so I'm taking that technology, this card that gives me an extra action, and this one that allows me to change the die to a die that I take to any value. And the new cards that came out say, play when performing a Bastet or Hathor god action. You don't have to pay any papyrus or bread. So either of these are basically free, a one-shot free action. Normally you have to pay 2 papyrus, and up here you have to pay 2 to 4 bread. This one says, when producing resources, gain 4 bread. That's really nice. Resources and scribes, they're all hard to come by. So getting 4 resources in one shot is really nice. And this one says, whenever you perform a Horus god action and build a statue in honor of a god, basically around the center here of the around the obelisk, then you gain 1 granite. So this card is kind of the Horus version of this card that gives you a papyrus when you take a Thoth action. All right, end pink's turn, and turn it over to blue. You know, I'm sort of on a building roll here. I think I may just build a bunch of buildings. I only have 1 bread, but remember, buildings in Osiris cost only 1 happiness. So if I can build up a lot of majorities over here, I'm looking at possibly scoring as many as 12 points. I'm sure pink won't let me get that. Pink will compete for those majorities, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take an Osiris action, a 2, 3, or a 6. So I've got a tainted 3 so far. So perfect choice here would be to take this pure 3 and keep my scales perfectly balanced. Make it easier as I go. A 3 means that I have to, when you're taking a god action, you can ignore the color of the die, only the value of the die matters. And in the case of an Osiris action, the 3 means that I have to build in the 3rd row. When I took this Hathor god action, not only did it allow me to build a building for 2, 3, or 4 bread, but I also gained population equal to the value of the die that I chose. Who was that did that? Was that pink or blue? That was blue. So blue took a yellow 3 last round and gained 3 population. So now their population is at 8. All right. And both blue and pink are 1 step away from getting their population into the green area of the track. When that happens, the green section of the card market will be filled up with cards. When somebody's population gets into the blue area, then the blue cards will get populated into the card market. So I took a pure 3, meaning I'm going to build in this row. I obviously have to choose an empty space. Do I want bread or limestone or granite? I think I'll take the bread. I want to try to. I'm going to try to go strong on. It looks like I'm going strong. It looks like I'm going strong on buildings. So I got 1 here so far, 1 here, and now I'm going to have a 3rd here. This is going to cause my happiness to fall to 1. So I'm going to have to work on getting that increased before I go too hog wild in the Osiris action area. But for now, we're going to build 1 right here. So I gained 1 bread, and my bread and production have now climbed to 4. That'll make more sense when you see me take a produce resources action down the road. Okay, we're at the end of round 2. The obelisk rotates, and 2 dice are, because it's a 2-player game, are drawn from the bag and rolled in the shaded section here, and 2 dice are drawn from the bag and rolled for this shaded section down here. And then all the other dice are repositioned as being pure or tainted based upon whether they're in the sun or the shade or darkness. So my program took care of all that. Normally there's a little bit of maintenance here when you look on the table and you decide, okay, this die used to be tainted, now it's pure. This used to be pure, now it's forbidden, all that sort of thing. Pink's turn. So what we got here? Pink has a positive 9, so they really want to take some tainted dice here. There's a tainted 6 over here. Osiris would be easy. It would only cost 1 happiness. Of course, that's contrary to what Pink wants to do, but it is early in the game. And Pink, and with a high value die like a 6, you're building down here. So I could build in one of these columns, for example, get a majority, but I would gain 2 resources, increase my production to that resource by 2 notches, and also increase any one other track, including the one that I just increased, by 1 notch as well. So I'm definitely going to grab the 6. And because I want to have my own majority in one of these columns, I'm going to build, I guess, well, do I want limestone or granite? I've got neither right now. In fact, I have nothing in terms of resources. You can see all zeros here. So anything's going to be good. Limestone is primarily needed to buy these tiles in the raw action area to build them over here in the temple complex. Granite is needed to build statues around the obelisk or elsewhere on the board. I think I'll grab some limestone. Yeah, I'm thinking it's more likely I'll perform a raw action before I perform a Horus action to build a statue. So I'm going to take this build right here. That's going to give me 2 limestone, increase my limestone production by 2, and then I get to increase a track by 1 more notch, a track of my choice. And you get 2 points at the scoring phase for every production track that's at 6. So I think since I'm already at 4 on limestone, I'll just increase limestone by 1 more notch and get up to 5. So if I ever produce resources and decided to produce limestone, I'll get to keep a large portion of what I produce, possibly all of what I produce, rather than lose some of it because my production is too low. Okay, and that was a tainted die, so as you can see, I'm more evenly balanced here. I got 1 more before the Maat phase, so clearly I'm going to want to try to grab a tainted 3 to get as, what do we got? Yeah, to keep my scale as perfectly balanced as possible if I want to still be first in turn order. So do we want to build again? Well, there are a bunch of dice over here in Osiris, and I guess this would be column 4 would be a good place to build. Get an early majority there, and I could do that with a 2. The advantage of using a 2 is that the first person to build in row 2 gets this gold. And I'm going to go into actually I could go into the third column and steal the majority away from Pink. Something to be said for that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build in column 2 of row 2 and get gold and limestone and an increase in limestone production. Okay, Pink's turn, going into the top of round 4. So pink's got a 9 minus 6, a positive 3. So the perfect choice would be a tainted 3. I don't see any tainted 3. Oh, actually, no, those are forbidden. Well, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, we have the technology that allows us to take a forbidden 3 and make it pure or tainted. So maybe this would be a good time to do that. Do we want to do a raw action, or do we want to possibly produce resources? So if I take a white 3, I can produce limestone. And remember, my limestone production is at 5, so if I use a white 3, I'll produce and keep all 3 limestone. If I take a yellow 3, I'll produce 3 papyrus, but I'll only get to keep 2 of it. And the stuff that I can't keep goes on the right-hand side of my scale, lowering my scale. So that kind of defeats the purpose. So I guess I'm going to take this white 3 for purposes of producing limestone. And it's forbidden, so my program is going to know that I have this technology that allows me to treat it as being pure or tainted. And I clearly want it to be tainted, so it balances out my scale. And now I'll continue, and I'll produce 3 limestone. So my limestone jumps from 2 to 5. So let's end the turn. We'll rotate, and we'll go into the... Oh, I jumped the gun. So blue still has a turn to take. I could take this 5. Nope, my happiness is down to 0, so I can't even build an Osiris. I could produce, but then I'd be at 8 to 5, which is not bad, but yeah, I guess any way I cut it, I'm going to lose. I'm going to be second in turn order again. Well, I do have 2 scribes. I could take an Anubis action. Anubis, when you take a die and perform an Anubis action, they go on the bottom of your scale, so they don't count toward your balance. So even if I went into the Maat phase with a balance of -2, that's no problem. I wouldn't lose points. I'm still going to be in second place in turn order. I could take this 5. Well, frankly, I could take any 5 and perform an Anubis action. So what action would I want to perform? I guess I could take this Hathor. Now, if I take the actual Hathor 5, then I am going to lose points. So I can't do that. I suppose I could take this pure 5, but if I'm going to perform a Hathor action, I might as well use this black 5. And maybe I'll actually use it for a Bastet action, even though it coincidentally happens to be in the Bastet action. Remember when you take an Anubis action, you can take a die from anywhere and use it for any god action or any production action that you want. But I think I'll just take it, and I couldn't normally take this die, but I can do an Anubis action, do a Bastet action with it, and gain 5 happiness. And there we go. So it cost me 2 scribes. It was expensive, but I think it was probably the best choice. I could have produced bread, I suppose. Yeah, maybe that would have been a better choice. But, well, actually, a 5, yeah, my bread production's at 4. I would have been able to keep 4 of that 5 bread. That might have been a better choice, but I've already done it, so we'll go with that. Now we're going to end the round, go into the Maat phase and the rotation phase, and it looks like pink's going to remain in first in turn order. Okay, pink stays in first in turn order. So just for a summary here, blue used the 1 faith token to get their scale balanced at -1. Pink didn't have any faith tokens, but they were already at 0 anyway, so it didn't matter. So pink stays first in turn order, and pink gets to choose a destiny card first. So do I probably, um, I could do this one again and gain another happiness. But I'm kind of thinking I'd rather have a gold or a scribe. I think I'm going to take a gold. And then blue, blue desperately needs a scribe, so blue will take the scribe. And now we're completing the rest of the rotation phase, and now we're at the top of round 5. So what do we have? So the wheels rotated, things have got moved around. Now we've got some more pure dice shown up. We got rounds 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then there'll be another Maat phase, a rotation phase, a Maat phase, and a scoring phase. So I think I want to, even though this is sort of sending my happiness in the wrong direction, I'm tempted to take this 2 and build in row 2 somewhere. I could build here and then steal the majority away from blue, because remember, if there's a tie, the higher piece breaks the tie. And do I want bread? Bread or papyrus, either one would be a good choice. I'll go and build here and take bread and increase my bread track. Okay, blue's turn. So blue just gained a lot of happiness, so they can come back to Osiris and start building down there again. They actually can, they have bread, so they can go into Hathor if they want to. Can't do a Horus, there's not enough granite. You need 4 granite for that first statue, and then you need 3 for your second and 2 for your third, and then 2, 3, and 4 for your 4th, 5th, and 6th. But that's out of the question. I think I may want to do a Hathor action. That would allow me to increase my population. It would reveal more cards in the green section, and I could get a peek at another decree and see if that's I'm the one who has that decree that can score a decree a second time if I can find a great decree. Yeah, I'm going to take this Tainted 5. That'll eventually increase my population by 5. In the meantime, I've got 2 bread and a gold. I think I will build in the 3 bread spot, because then building a pillar here at the intersection of these buildings helps during the scoring phase. So I'm going to build there for 3 bread, costing me 2 bread and a gold. And then I gain 1 of every resource in this column. So I gain a faith token, a bread, a granite, a limestone, a papyrus. So my resources are climbing back up again. And then I gained 5 population, and green cards have shown up. So let's see what we got here. Play when performing a Horus or Ra god action, you do not have to pay limestone or granite. That's a blessing. Technology, whenever you take a tainted die to perform a god action, you may spend a scribe to also produce resources with it. That's pretty nice. That's like 2 actions for 1, and that's actually ongoing. Whenever you take a tainted die to perform a god action, wow, that'd be really powerful. This one looks, this is not that's a terrible image, but it says whenever you play a blessing, gain a gold. And this one says score 2 VP per leftover gold you have, plus 1 VP per leftover resource, limited to 20 victory points. Okay, well, I'd have to have an awful lot of production to make that, a lot of resources to make this worthwhile. I'm not sure that's the decree I'm looking for. But for now, we'll end my turn and we'll turn it over to pink going into round 6. So pink so far took a pure 2. I should probably be building over here as well, but I only have 1 bread and 1 gold. I think I'm going to stick with Osiris and try to work on majorities. So I'm going to take this forbidden 5. Normally forbidden, but I have that technology that lets me treat it as pure or tainted. I'm going to treat it as being tainted. Go on the right side of my scale, allowing me to build in row 5. And if I build here in the 4th column, then that's 3 points for me potentially if I hold on to that majority. I think that's where I'm going to go. So that's going to give me 2 granite and 2 increases in granite production. And the 5 is now on the right side of my scale. So I've got column 4 locked up. Blue has column 3. I have column 2. Blue has column 1. So right now we're splitting points. But several rounds to go before we get to round 8. Okay, bottom of round 6, blue's turn. Looking maybe for a pure die. There's a pure 5 here. Gain 5 population. Get me into the green area. I could get my choice of green cards. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to take the yellow 5 and increase my happiness by 5. I'm in the green. Oh, it's the rotation phase, round 6. The wheel rotates. More dice are rolled in the shaded sections. It's now top of round 7. So there are two statue spots up here. If you build there instead of building a statue around here, if you build a statue here, you get a bonus every time somebody takes a god action next to the statue that you built. If you build here, you've got the highest piece in that column, and the statues count for both columns. So this one counts for both of these, and this one counts for both of these, and you also get a gold. But to do that, I need granite. But there is a 6 here. I could gain a lot of granite. I could take 6 granite with a 6, take 4 resources, 4 granite, and then I'd end up with an excess of 2 resources on the right side of my scale, but the 6 would help to balance that off. So I'm thinking of yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to produce with this black 6. I'm going to treat this die as being pure. So I'll gain 6 granite, only keep 4 of it, and 2 will show up on the right-hand side of my scale. So my balance now stands at 8 to 7 for +1. Not bad going into the next Maat phase. Although there's one more die to be taken. Blue's turn. Oh, I wanted to take a Thoth action, didn't I? I could take a 2 and get this 1 card, or I could build up some papyrus and use it for a stronger Thoth action. I think maybe there's a yellow 6 up here. I can produce 6 papyrus, keep 4 of it, and 2 would be excess tainted. Let's do that. stock up on papyrus. So my balance stands currently at 11 minus 7, or positive 4. And I don't see a taint. Oh, there's a tainted 4 in Hathor. Okay. So I've got some options. Going into round 8. Scoring phase will take place. Bread will be needed for upkeep. Oh, I always forget about that. All right, so what do we got? Pink needs 2 bread. I've got a bread and a gold, so I'm kind of okay. Blue needs 3 bread for their buildings. They've got 1 and no gold. Oh, shoot. Blue's going to need to do something about that. Okay, I got to remember that. I'm always forgetting about building upkeep. And there was this card here that, oh man, pink could have really used this. Or blue. Blue's the one who's going heavy in buildings. This would have been good for blue. Anyway, it's pink's turn. Pink just produced granite, so do we want to build a statue? I think so. I've got a balance of 8 minus 7, or positive 1. I could take a tainted 2 and build a statue. I could build a statue around the obelisk, but I think I want to get into here. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a gray 2. And if I go here, well, I've already got majority in the second column, but this would lock up the majority in the first column too. So I'm going to build there and take a gold. Okay, so I'm going into the Maat phase with a balance of -1. No faith tokens to even that out. Let's see what blue's going to do. Blue currently stands at positive 4. Oh yeah, but blue needs bread. Tainted 4 would be perfect. There's a pure 4. I could perform a raw action, take a tile, and place it on a space with 2 bread and collect 2 bread. That would pay my bread. And I could go right there and score points for the buildings that are in the same row and column. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking about the bread at the time, but it's perfect. So I think I'm going to grab this brown 4. So when you take a 1 or a 2, you have to place this tile. Oh, can I afford the tile? I do. I have 3 limestone. Perfect. This one costs 3 limestone. It doesn't have any bonus on it, but that wouldn't matter anyhow. I'll talk more about these tiles and the bonuses on them later. But right now that doesn't apply because, but anyhow, if you take a die of 1 or 2, you gotta use this tile. A die of 3 or 4, use this tile, and a die of 5 or 6. Now I could take a tainted 2 and take this tile, but that would cost 4 limestone. I don't have it, and it will allow, So I think I'm going to take this brown 4. I have to take this tile. I don't have a choice. It will cost me 3 limestone. As soon as I place it, I'll get charged. And the perfect place for it is right here to gain the 2 bread. I can rotate it if I want. You'll notice there are colored edges here, and if you line up colors with adjacent tiles or edges on the board, you score some extra points. But since I'm building here, no point, there's no real benefit in rotating it. So I'm just going to build right here. And what I will get for that is 2 points because it was this tile. I'll get 2 bread. I'll get a point for every building, regardless of owner, that lines up with that tile. Yeah, so this is good for, what, 4 points and 2 bread. I'll take it. So now the score is 14-10. See that one of my pillars gets placed on the tile, and all the tiles slide over to the right, and a new one is drawn for the leftmost space. Okay, so now we're going into we're going into the rotation phase, the Maat phase, and the scoring phase, and I will sort of review how all that works. Looks like pink is going to still be first in turn order. So it was 14-10, and we end the scoring phase 24-20 with blue in a slight lead. We have to pick destiny cards. Pink goes first, and then I'll talk about the scoring phase. Pink rather took the gold card last time. Do we want to do that again? Boy, I am not doing anything. Look at where my happiness is. This is god-awful. Oh, man, I am not paying attention. Well, okay. I think I want the gold. Blue's going to grab the scribe, same as they did last time. Completing the rotation phase, going into round 9. We'll review what happens in the scoring phase now. So, first you evaluate the Osiris action area and give out these 3 VP bonuses. So pink, with the statue up here, grabs both of column 1 and column 2, scores 3 points. In the third column, it's a tie. Blue has the higher piece, so blue gets 3 points. And pink has the fourth column, so pink got 9 points out of that. Blue got 3. So at the end of that part of the scoring phase, it looked like the score was 19-17 in pink's favor. But then we go over to the temple complex. Everybody scores 1 point for every building they built. Blue built 2 buildings in the temple complex. Pink didn't build anything, so blue just simply scores 2 points. Blue also scores for that pillar because you score 1 point for every building of yours that is in the same row and column as a pillar of yours. And as you recall, there's 2 points right there. So we scored 2 points when we built the pillar, and now we're scoring another 2 points during the scoring phase. So now the score is 21-19 in blue's favor. Then we gain score for number of statues you build. Only pink has built 1 statue for 1 point. But if you build 2 statues, it's worth 3 points, then 6, then 10, then 15, then 21. That's a lot of granite. Blue didn't build any statues, so that's 1 point for pink's 1 statue. And then finally, you score for your happiness. Number of pillars, 3 points per pillar. So blue is up here, just 1 space past the 1 space per pyramid. So blue is right here at 10, just past the 1 pillar mark. So that's worth 3 points for blue. Pink is all the way down here, doing horribly as far as happiness is concerned. I mean, that's just disgraceful. So pink doesn't score anything. So we come into round 9 at a score of 24-20 in blue's favor. 24-20. Pink is still in top of the turn order track, and pink is going to go first. So when you build a pillar, after building buildings, you score a point for every building in line, regardless of owner, in line with the pillar. and then if they're your buildings, you score another point for them at the scoring phase. If you build the pillar first and then build a building, you score 3 points for the pillar in the same row or column. So there's something to be said for building a pillar first instead of building a building first. And pink hasn't done a raw action, so maybe that's what they want to start off with. They've got 5 limestone. This would increase their population by 3, but you only evaluate the benefit on the tile if the color of the tile matches the color of the raw action. Right now, raw is in the sun. This is a sunny tile. I could take this tainted 2, place this tile, gain 3 population. It would cost me 4 limestone. I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, the question is, where's the best place to put this tile? Well, if I put it on, remember, if I put it on any space, I gain whatever resources are under that space. But if I build it in the corner spaces don't give me a resource, but they double the adjacency bonus. So I could, for example, take this and build it here, and the blue would match up and score 2 points. Or I could build it down here, rotating it like that, and then the red would match. Red here, red there, and that would score 2 points. So that would be 2 points, and then 1 point for the tile, so it's 3 points in total. And then if I start building some buildings here, I can capitalize on that pillar and score some additional points. So that's going to go right there. Cost me 4 limestone. I increased my score by 2 for the color matching, double because I built in the corner. I scored a point because you get 1 point if it's the 3rd tile. And because the sunniness of the tile matched the sunniness of the raw area, I increased my population by 3 to 11. That's not helping me on as far as happiness is concerned, but at least it's a minor step in the right direction. I really need to feast my eyes on this 6. That's what I'm going to need to do. Maybe grab that 6 next. Okay, blue's turn. Blue is running low on resources. No bread, so they can't build up here. They've got papyrus. They could do the Thoth action. Of course, they have happiness. They can go back to Osiris if they wanted to. There's a yellow 5 here. 5th row, couple of resources. Maybe grab back majority in column 1, or column 2 for that matter. No, if I build in column 2, pink still maintains the majority. I don't know. Let's just take it. Let's go with the 5. So this is not helping me with the majority, but it is giving me bread, and it's keeping my buildings going. So that feeds bread, gives me bread, which allows me to build over here again. Looks like I'm the building czar. Okay, my bread production went up to 6. That's worth 2 points at the next scoring phase at the end of the game. All right, going into round 10. Really should grab that 6. Oh, but they want to build a building to capitalize on this pillar. 3 points. If they build a building here or here, they don't have 2 bread, but they have 2 gold. Oh boy. I'm not focusing pink too well. Pink can grab the 6 and gain 6 population. I'm sorry, 6 happiness. And then there's only 1s left. But that's safe, because well, there is going to be a rotation phase. So then all of a sudden Bastet will be in the shade and the white dice will become tainted. So that white 6 will become available potentially to blue. But a white 6 doesn't really help blue that much. I mean, they gain 4 of that happiness, but they lose out on the other 2. Well, this is probably not the best play, but I think I'm just going to go with the 4. I think I'll take a tainted 4 in Hathor. Build here, and that's worth 3 points. Plus a faith token, a limestone, and a granite. And I get 3 points because a pillar of mine lines up with the building. Not terrible. And now the score is 26 to 24 in favor of pink. Blue's turn. Well, blue knows for sure that pink wants to build here. Blue could steal the space away from pink. Kind of not nice, but yeah. Why should pink stay in the lead? Of course, blue won't get credit for the pillar, but they would gain a papyrus, a bread, a faith token if they build here. And it would only cost 2 bread. And again, it keeps their building going, and this next building is going to be worth 2 points at the next scoring phase. So let's steal that building space away from pink. And of course, I gained 4 population. And now blue cards have come out. So what do we got? This is sort of like the opposite action. I've got these blessings. I've totally ignored them. Pink has these blessings. I've got to remember to take those. But anyway, this allows you to take an action adjacent. So this is another extra action blessing. This one says whenever you perform a god action, score 2 points. A raw god action, that is. So the decrees, this is what blue was looking for. Score 3 points per statue you built to honor a god or the people. Blue has not built any statues, so that's worthless to them. This is 4 points per statue you built to honor a god. That's worthless to them. Not the kind of decree they were looking for. That means at some point they're going to probably want to spend papyrus and recycle these cards and hope for a better decree. Because they got to make use of this. I mean, otherwise they've just blown the potential of this decree that allows them to score another decree twice. All right, going into the rotation phase. A lot of tainted dice here. A bunch of 6s in Bastet. A lot of pure dice over here. A 5 and a 6 in Horus. And a pure 5 down here. Not much else. So the dice tend to kind of populate at the end of a rotation phase, wherever the shade is, because that's where you're drawing more dice. Is pink going to finally bump up their happiness? I think that's long overdue. Except a tainted die is not what they want, because they already have 6 on the right side of their scale. And they've got no papyrus. Oh man, I'm almost thinking about going back to Osiris again, but it's sending my happiness in the wrong direction. Oh God. A tainted 6 is not what I need right now, and I can't do an Anubis action because I only have 1 scribe. I really should have thought that through. I could take a black 1. Oh, I've got these blessings. I've got the one that gives me opposite action. I don't have bread, so that's not useful right now. But I could take the 1, change its value to, say, a 6. That would go on the pure side, balance my scales, and let me gain some, a lot of resource and production. Let's do that. Let's take this black 1. Let's use this blessing and change that black 1 to a 6. So now it's a black 6. It's pure. It's going to go over here and balance my scale going into the next Maat phase. Well, not quite. I'll have 3 dice on my board. And now where do I want to build? I could build here. I currently have majority in column 1, but this would give me a bunch of papyrus. Oh, which I need in order to take a Bastet action. Ooh, but I need 3 granite for another pillar. If I take a Horus action on my next turn, I have the 3 granite that I need to build that pillar, statue rather. And then I could use my extra opposite action and take a Bastet action. And if I'm using something like a 6, that's not bad. Okay, so I think I want to build here. So I got a 6. I'm going to build in column 1 and gain 2 papyrus. It costs me a happiness. I also get to gain of a track of my choice. Limestone would be a good choice because it would be worth 2 points. So I'll bump up my limestone production. And my scale's currently balanced at 6 to 6. Of course, I've got to take another die, which means I'm not going to be so balanced next round. But who knows what Blue's got? Blue's got a faith token. Where's Blue getting these faith tokens? Oh, Blue gets a faith token every time they build a building over here with a faith token in that row or column. If you don't use your faith tokens during a Maat phase, you have to surrender them. You can't carry faith tokens over from one round to the next. So what are we going to do? Well, now we've got room to increase happiness, which gets me into the blue area, which will then I have papyrus. I could recycle these cards and hope for a better decree. There's a plan. I'll take this tainted 6 and gain 6 happiness. And now I'm in the blue area. And if I get my happiness up a little higher, I get a free gold. Over here, I get a free scribe. If you get your happiness to the top of the track, you get a free action of any any sort. You pick up, you imagine a die in your head, and then you use that die and take whatever action you want to take. Okay, going into round 12. This will be another Maat phase at the end of this round. Okay, so pink, oh yeah, pink's plan is that they want to take this 6 and perform a Bastet and a Horus action in one turn. So we're going to take this pure 6. Oh, yeah, I kind of already knew. It's not going to help my balance. I'm going to be at positive 6. It's not negative 6, which would be awful. Positive 6 is not terrible, but it means I do lose position in turn order. I'm going to use that, use my blessing to increase my happiness by 6. Oh, but remember, this blessing costs me a population and a happiness to use it. So I only gain a net of 5 happiness. But it's still better than where I was before. And now I'm going to build a statue, and maybe I want to just build it here. I think I do. Yeah. And that'll give me another gold. Okay. Blue's turn. Bottom of round 12. So what we got to think about long-term plans here. Blue definitely needs bread. They also need, yeah, they need bread. At this scoring phase, they're going to be paying 4 bread. And if they build another building, it's going to be 6 bread. There is a 5 over here that they could grab to produce 5 bread. Their production is at the top, so they get to keep all of it. And yeah, because there's no other big brown dice. And I have 2 scribes. I could always take an Anubis action and turn the die into a brown die and produce maybe 6 bread, but yeah, I think I want to stock up on bread, get that out of the way, otherwise I'll forget. So I'm going to take this brown 5 and produce 5 bread. My bread's now up to 6. Now I don't have to worry about it so much. Of course, I might start building more buildings up here in Hathor, but my game plan is to get into Thoth. I have to go to Thoth and start thinking about a good decree. Okay, so blue did steal turn order in that Maat phase. Blue had a balance of 0. Pink's balance was positive 5. So pink gets first dibs, blue gets first dibs rather, up here. Well, they've been taking scribes. Do they want another scribe? Sure, why not? Although, wait a minute. You have to pay 2 gold for this. Blue doesn't have any gold. So far, this decree is not doing them. It's worthless to them because they have no gold to pay for it. I should have taken this. But, well, that's what I get for not thinking ahead of time. Does pink want the gold, or does pink? Well, pink really has to get their happiness going. We have been ignoring it. I think Though there is a 6 here. I can always just take the 6 and do a Bastad action, but I have no papyrus. But if I have a gold, I have 2 gold, that's as good as 2 papyrus, and then I can take that 6. So, okay, I'm going to take the gold. Completing the rotation phase. Going into round 13, blue gets to go first this time. So blue's got 3 papyrus. They could do a Thoth action. They also wanted to do a Hathor action, but now look at what's up in Hathor. A bunch of 1s. Though I could take a 6, do an Anubis. I've got plenty of scribes. And then you do a Hathor action with the 6. And it wouldn't count against my scale. What's Anubis the 6? And use it to perform a Hathor action. And that will gain 6 population, which would now, with a big 6 in Bastet, I would max out my happiness to 21 and I get a free action. And I would get a gold. I'd get a scribe and free action plus that 15 points. Yeah. So we're going to do a Hathor action to get my population maxed out. I think I'll build there. Okay, so here's my population at 21. My happiness is at 15, and there's a 6. Pink's turn. Well, Pink really wants that 6 too. Maybe Pink should steal it from under, right from under blue. Yeah. Blue stole that building space away from Pink before, so Pink's going to take the white 6 and gain 6 happiness. That's looking more like it. Okay. Got to do some Hathor action, get my population up. Fortunately, Hathor's at 1 with 1s in here right now. But they will be getting some more dice on the next rotation phase when the shaded area moves over here. Going to be running out of time before you know it. Oh, gosh, it's already round 14. Oh boy, and Pink still hasn't gotten a decree. I think it's time to try to gamble on a decree. I've got 4 papyrus. I could take the tainted 5. I want to spend a papyrus and get different. I want to recycle these cards. I mean, this is a decent card. This doesn't really help me. I'm not going to be doing a lot of raw god actions. And these decrees don't do me any good whatsoever. So I think I'm going to take, if I'm going to spend the papyrus on recycling cards, now you can only do it once, but if I don't get a card that I like, I might have to come back and do another Thoth action next round. I've got to do something about Thoth. So I think I will take, I'll just take a 2 and I'll spend 1 papyrus to recycle the cards in the blue section and hope to God I get a decent decree. So I'm recycling the cards. So what do we get? We got a blessing here, not that I care, that says play when performing a produce resources action. Perform the production twice, each time gaining both the resources and, if applicable, any excess is a taint. Okay, that's like a free action. This one says you may use gold in place of scribes and vice versa. Well, it's a little late for that. This one says score of war points per pyramid your population has reached. That's what I'm talking about. My population's at 21. That's 5 pyramids. That's 20 points. Pay 1 resource per pyramid. It costs me 5 resources. And then if I want to use, so the symbol is a camel, and I've got a hat. No problem on the symbols, but if I wanted to do that decree twice, I would need a total of 10 resources at the end of the game. 5 to get, for the first 5 pyramids, to get, so what is that? 20 points. So I'd get 20 points for the first decree if I had 5 resources. Use the other decree to do that same decree a second time, spend another 5 resources, get another 20 points. That's 40 points at the end of the game. And I haven't even looked at this one. This one says score 3 points per pillar you raised in the temple complex. That's fine. I only raised 1 pillar. That's of no real value to me. This is the one I want. I only get to take 1 card because I took a 2. Doesn't cost me any additional papyrus. That's what I want. We're looking at possibly 40 points right there. I just have to make sure I have enough bread. I need 6 bread. If I can build some more buildings, I'm getting another 3 points, another 5 points. So there's 8 possible points right there. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's not a whole lot of rounds left. I'm kind of doing this a little late in the game. I should have probably been doing this sooner. I need to stock up on resources. I need to have plenty of bread. Oh, and look at this, a lousy brown 2. Oh, I'm not too happy. Okay, going into Pink's turn. Bottom around 14. What's Pink's goal here? Pink needs to do a Hathor action. They have no bread. They need to get their population up. Oh yeah, what other cards came out here? So score 5 points per statue you built to honor the people. That would be a kind of card that Pink would be interested in. So honoring the people are the statues that you build here. Honoring the gods are the statues you build here. That would be worth 5 points. 5 points, 5 points. And if I build a statue here and another statue there, of course I have to have a lot of granite for that. But I only need 2 granite for my next. What if I stock up on granite right now? I also have to worry about bread. I need 3 bread. And I have none of that. Oh, so much to do. I'm running out of time now. There is a 5 here. I could produce 5 granite. How much would I keep? 4 of it. It would balance my scale. There's something elegant about that. Let's do it. Let's go with I'm doing things that I probably shouldn't be doing. But look at the low dice. Low dice in Hathor, low dice in Bastet. This is not good. Not good for anybody. Okay, let's stock up on granite. At 6 and 6, 0 balance so far, with 2 more dice to go. 2 more rounds in this game, and then it's over. Rotation phase. Hoping for high dice here. Oh, low 2s, and they're brown, and blue does have a scribe. They can always make that 2 into a 4. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm at 3 bread. I need 6. Let's grab a tainted 2. Let's use my scribe and turn it into a 4. Oops, wait a minute, cancel. I want to produce. Turn that into a 4 and collect 4 bread. Okay, that's better. Remember, I need 4, I'm going to need 6 bread and 10 resources. I've got 7 bread. That would leave 1 bread left over. With 4, 5, I'm at 8 resources. And I need a gold. I need 2 gold to make that decree. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. All right. How am I going to, I gotta get a gold next turn. I gotta remind myself of this. Need gold and resources. Okay. In the meantime, pink, round 15. What does pink need? Pink's going to need some bread. They just grabbed granite. Pink could grab that statute decree. Now remember, pink does not know what blue is holding as far as their decrees. And blue doesn't know what pink is holding as far as pink's decrees. That's secret. So even though we know, we don't know. We've got to ignore it. We've got to pretend we don't know. So I could grab a low die, a low thoth, but then I have to produce bread in the next round. What a way to end the game, producing bread. All right, let's take a tainted 2. This decree, I am in the blue section. This decree is worth 10 points to me. That's nothing to sneeze at. Let's take it. It doesn't cost me papyrus. And I gained a papyrus because of my technology. Okay. 4 points per happiness pyramid. My happiness stands at 3 pyramids. 2 pyramids. Sorry, 2 pyramids. I can't get my happiness up. Oh, look, there's low dice and Bastet. My happiness is not going to be going any higher. It's a lousy 2 pyramids. Now that's only worth 8 points. So this is 8 points for that, 10 points for that. And I don't even know that blue is possibly looking at 40 points. If blue can get, blue needs bread, blue needs resources. Well, let's end the turn. We're going into the round 16, the final scoring phase. Blue needs gold and bread and resources. So ideally, I need 1 gold. I have enough bread. I need 1 gold, and then I need 3, 6, 7, 8, and 2 more resources. So I need a gold and 2 resources. I could build here, but then I'm using up 4 of my bread. That defeats the purpose. Where am I going to get gold? Well, there's a 4 over here. Row 4 gives you gold. And if I built here, I could get some more bread and steal majority away. No, I wouldn't. Pink would still have the majority. No, this is papyrus. What am I talking about? This would give me a gold and a bread, but pink would still have majority. I think I'm going to take, what am I looking at? Probably a pure 4. This will give me gold, bread, and raise my production. Would I get to level? I wouldn't even get to level 6. But I don't have any scribes, so I can't even make that 4 into a 6. I'm going to be short on resources. But there was no other good way to get gold. I never did build a god to, I never did show you what happens when you build a statue in honor of a god, and you get this benefit every time you or your opponent performs that action. So we never did do that. It was a little disappointing. There was no gold to be had up here, and I didn't have limestone anyway. I did have, no, I needed 4 granite for a statue. I only have 3 granite. So that, I could have gotten the gold there. No, I wouldn't have gotten the gold. You only get that when you perform the action in subsequent rounds. Yeah, and then here I have to spend bread to get the gold. So this was really my only choice to get gold. So, but I'm going to be short. I'm not going to get 40 points. I'm not going to have enough. I guess I'm building here. So now my bread's at 8. My gold's at 2. So I'll need 6 bread. I'm going to be getting 5 points for buildings. I'll be paying 6 bread, leaving me with 2 bread. That's 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And there's the 2 gold. If I'm calculating that correctly, I'm 1 resource short of where I needed to be in order to get the 40 points. But I'll get close. Okay, Pink's final turn. Pink needed bread, otherwise they're going to lose a boatload of points. Pink needs 3 bread. They have a scribe. Is there any other good way to get bread? Huh. That's in the dark. This is in the dark. I have the limestone. I have the granite. It will allow me to perform a Thoth God action, drawing 1 card as if you had taken a die with a value of 1. So it would be 1 free card. I could grab another decree, possibly. So what do I have right now? I've got a camel and an eye. This is a cat. Score 2 points per leftover gold, which I have none of. And 1 point for leftover resource. After spending 2 and 1, I'd have 4 resources left. That's worth 4 points. I mean, is there a blessing here that I could make use of? Not really. So this is worth 4 points. Plus building the pillar. If I built it here, oh, I get some more resources, which gives me more points. And I get a point for the buildings. Yeah, I think we're looking at a raw action. Oh, but then I don't have bread. Darn it, I need bread. I need 3 bread. Even if I build in a 2 bread space, I'm short a bread. That's minus 3 points. This is too much of a mental calculation. All right. 1 point if I build a pillar here, that's worth 1 point. 2 points for the tile is 3 points. There's no adjacency, so I don't get any kind of adjacent bonus. So that's 1 point, that's 3 points. The decree, where am I? I am in the blue area. Score 3 points per statue you build for God or people, and 2 points per temple building. That's better. I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be short of bread, so I'm gonna lose 3 points. But I think I can make up with it. So I think I'm gonna take, what do I need? Oh, the other problem is I'm at minus 2. I could take the 3 and make it pure. Then I'd be at 9 minus 8, positive 1. I don't remember what blue's looking at. Their first and turn order is worth 3 points for what it's worth. I'm talking too much. Let's just do it. I'm going to take this yellow 3. I'm going to make it pure using my technology. I'm taking this tile. I'm building it here, which will get me a point. And then I get to take a Thoth action. I got 2 bread. You may now perform a Thoth action with a die 1. Left card you want to take. Left click the card you want to take. I think this is the card. What's this one? Score 3 points per pillar. That's worth 6. This one is worth 3 per statue plus 2 per temple building. That's 3, 6, 8. Three per statue you build for God or the gods or the people. So that's 6. 2 points per temple building. That's 8. That's 2 times 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8. This one is 3 points per pillar. That's worth 6. This one's definitely worth more. This one is 2 points per leftover gold plus 1 point per leftover resource. I haven't paid for this tile yet. I've got 6 resources. The tile is going to cost me, I have paid for the tile already. I've got 6. That's worth 6 points. I think this decree is still worth 8. I'm taking this. Wow. Sorry about that, but it was the last round. Okay, so what is blue? Is that it? Blue was first in turn order. That's it. Who's going to win on the balance? I've got 9 here, and I've got 8. That's a positive 1. Blue is at 6-4, which is positive 2. Pink's going to get 3 points. Let's just end it and go. Let's see what happens. Pink steals first place, scoring phase. Blue won with a score of 82. How non-dramatic is that? All right, so let's just go through it all. We got a scoring phase. So it looks like pink had 3 majorities, blue had 1 over here. Blue had the second column, pink had the first, the third, and the fourth column with their statues. Okay, so that put the score at 38 to 35, 38 to 30 to 27 in favor of pink. Then Temple Complex, buildings and statues. 1 point for everything. Blue had 4 buildings and statues worth 4 points. Pink only had 1. So blue gets 4 points for building 4 buildings in the Temple Complex. Pink only built 1 building in the Temple Complex. So that's 1 point for pink. So now the score stands at 39 to 31 in favor of pink. Then, score for pillars at the Temple Complex. You get 1 point for every building of your color aligned with your pillar. So blue had one blue building there worth 1 point, a blue building there worth 1 point, pink had 1 building there worth 1 point. So that's 2 points for blue, 1 point for pink. That's what that's all about. Then you get, for all your statues that you built, pink built 2 statues worth 3 points. Pink scores at 43 to 33. Next, score for your happiness pyramids. Oh, you know what? Blue never did get to max out. That was the other thing we wanted blue to do. Oh, but there was never a high enough die in Bastet. And they didn't have the scribes to do an Anubis action. They were running out of bread. Oh, it just didn't happen. So blue with 6, they got the same number of points on happiness? Yeah, look where their happiness is. They're both at the 2 pyramid mark, worth 6 points. The dice didn't cooperate there, just really low Bastet dice. And not enough rounds. Maxed out production markers. They each had 1 production marker that was at the top of the track. That's 2 points each. Blue, 5 points for constructed buildings. Oh, yeah. So blue had all these buildings built. That's worth 5 points. 3 for that one, 2 for that space. If they had gotten that last one, it would have been another 5 points. But they just ran out of time. So going into the blue ended the game with 46 points. Pink ended the game with 48 points. But blue got 20 points for their 4 per population pyramid. They had 5 population pyramids. That's worth 20. They had to spend 5 resources. And it looks like when they used the one that gave them they did that decree that allowed them to do this again, it looks like they only had 4 resources. Yeah, because 4 would have generated 16 points. They came up short by 1 resource. So where are we? Endgame scoring blue. They spent 3 papyrus and 2 bread, 5 resources to get 20 points. They spent 2 gold, then they spent 1 limestone and 3 granite, 4 resources. That's all they had left. Look at all zeros. So they were short 1 resource, so they lost 4 points on the deal, but that's not terrible. It's 36 points in decrees. Can't beat that. Pink. So this was a decree that gave them 2 per statue and 2 per temple building. That was worth 6. Didn't we think it was worth 8? No. Wait a minute. My card says score 3 per statue and 2 per temple building, but my description in the list says 2 per statue and 2 per temple building. Clearly that's a bug. I'm curious. That is decree D14. Wonder if this will work if I click it. It will. D14, 2 and 2. So my card is wrong. But I'm going to get the game shortly. So I miscalculated. That was worth only 6 points, not 8 points as I thought. Not that it mattered. 4 per happiness pyramid. I had 2 happiness pyramids. That was worth 8. And then I had 5 per statue to the people. That was worth 10. So I scored 24 points in decrees versus 36 points for blues decrees. And then I got a turn order bonus of 3 points. Not enough to make up the difference. Blue won with a score of 82 to 75. So you could see how much a good decree or two could really turn the table. And pink wasn't going to do any better. The other decrees that they could have considered were still worth no more than 6 points. Yeah. Well, they were taking a Thoth action. They could have spent and gambled on a papyrus to recycle and get some more cards. I mean, and that was a consideration. We could have done that. But I doubt. I mean, they were spread too thin. I don't think they would have done much better. 82 to 75. The point was that I wanted to present a sample 2-player playthrough. Now, are those good scores? No, not really. Those are probably average scores. A good score in this game is in the 90s or over 100, maybe 110, 120. 130 would be a really great score, I think. That's my sense. So these are middling scores, but I didn't think I was going to do that well because I just wasn't focusing either player especially well. I think I gave blue more time thinking about those decrees. Anyway, that's my 2-player playthrough of Tekhenu. Next up, I will be presenting a solo run-through of Tekhenu, and I'll teach you how to play solo. So that'll be coming in the next day or two. In the meantime, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.